This is a voiceover and is not in sync with what is happening in the recording. The voiceover will end around halfway through, so you may need to listen to the voiceover twice. This recording assumes you have already set up for building and that you have a GitHub account. You can find a script for setting up for building by searching akhilnarang scripts GitHub. Run the Android build script and you should be ready to go. If you come across any problems, just search and read and you will most likely find a solution. I have paused the recording at multiple points where it doesn't really matter to reduce the length of the video. You may also see me adding some stuff to lineage_bramble.mk. This is specific to Matrixx such as maintainer, boot animation, and so on. What you actually type out there will differ between ROMs. It is not essential to complete a build. So, to start we create the directory for the ROM, in this case Project Matrixx, and then cd into that directory, as shown in the recording. Then we go to Project Matrixx GitHub and locate Android, also known as manifest or Android_manifest. Once we have the manifest page open, we should read through everything because there is often important information there. Then we copy the command to initialize and then we copy the command to sync and wait for the sync to complete. How long this takes will differ depending on the hardware you are using and the speed of your internet. You may see different commands for this depending on the ROM, but all of them will start with repo sync. Once the source sync is complete, we go for device trees, and for this we will be using device trees from Lineage OS. So, search Lineage GitHub and open the link that should be at the top of the results. It should open into repositories. In the search bar inside the repositories section, type the code name of your device. For this example we will be using the Pixel 4a 5G, also known as Bramble, so we type Bramble and Red Bull, which is the kernel. We need device_Google_Bramble, device_Google_Red Bull, kernel_Google_Red Bull from Lineage OS. Sometimes this repo name will start with Android. This is just referring to the directory of the ROM, and Lineage OS does start the name with Android. Also, what you need will differ between devices. For example, for the OnePlus 8 Pro you will need device_OnePlus_instant noodlep instead of Google_Bramble, and device_OnePlus_SM8250 common, and kernel_OnePlus_SM8250 instead of Google_Red Bull. Some devices require additional repos. Now we clone the device trees with git clone, for example, git clone https://github.com/android_kernel_google_red bull.git kernel Google and here at the end I usually add the directory I want to clone into because it creates it for you if it doesn't exist already, and it is just more convenient. Keep an eye out for that in the recording. The kernel and vendor will take some time and again will depend on the hardware you are using and your internet speed. Next, we need the vendor. For this we should open a search engine and type Muppets GitHub and tap the link that should be at the top. Open it and again type in search your device code name, Bramble in this example, and again clone with git clone. In this example, once we have everything we need we can start the build because Project Matrixx does not require any file name changing. Not all ROMs are like this, and so you will need to do that. The files you would normally need to change are found in device name, in this case device Google Bramble and device Google Red Bull, and you would change lineage to the device name. I will record an example of this at some point soon. Now when I start the build you will notice J20, this is to reduce the jobs, putting less strain on the CPU and RAM. J20 is quite high and some ROMs will default to J4 or J6. The higher the jobs the faster the build will complete, but you must have hardware to support it. I have a 16-core 32-thread CPU and 64 GB RAM, so J20 is fine for me. I am also using WSL, which uses more resources than a dedicated Linux boot or Linux server. Error 137 is out of memory. If you get this, reduce the jobs by 2 until it continues. You may come across errors during the build. The most common are duplicates, which will error with XXX already defined by XXX, XXX being a directory, and a whole range of policy errors. Again, search with the error and you will likely find a solution. You will also notice a lot of warnings during the build. This is normal. There are different ways of doing what I am showing in the recording, but this is what I do, so this is what I am showing. All of them achieve the same outcome. If your device is officially supported by Lineage, then starting your first build with Lineage OS is a good idea, although launching the device for Lineage will automatically sync the trees if is supported. Other ROMs do this too. Finally, the build will complete and we can proceed to flashing. The path to the completed build will be shown in the terminal. I will highlight this during the recording along with anything else of note. I must stress that this is not even close to all of it. This is just the very basics of the compiling in a recording. The ROM may or may not be usable out of the box, but there will almost always be something to deal with. Debugging can be a pain, so be prepared for that. I would encourage you to take a log with ADB after you have a successful boot and look out for any errors. Definitely do this if you come across any bugs during testing. Patience and willingness to read is something you may well need to continue with this. Good luck and enjoy.